We're in the book of Genesis looking at some devotional thoughts for our times that we have set aside that we can share with our family. We looked at Adam and Eve. Now let's look at as Adam and Eve are in the garden, where do they make their mistake? They make a mistake that you and I have made ever since then. God gave them a specific command and said, take charge of the garden and take dominion of the world. And Adam and Eve were put in charge. And then the snake came along, the serpent came along and started to talk to them. And what did Adam and Eve do? They started to listen to what the serpent had to say rather than listening to what God had to say. But they did it in a unique way. They didn't turn to each other. Adam and Eve didn't turn to each other for help. They turned away from each other and faced the serpent alone. Eve head on and Adam hid in the shadows. But they didn't work together. And because they didn't work together at what God had told them to do, they fell apart. So many times you and I face our difficulties by ourselves. We don't turn to each other and we don't do it God's way, and that's where we fell apart. That's where we fall apart. Something for you and I to think about. In isolation, don't be isolated. In isolation, don't face your stuff by yourself. We need to work together. God has given us commission. We put His commission first, and then we can face the enemy in strength. Something for you to think about.